Hello and welcome back to another 5 minutes with James for another week. We hope that all is going well in your world, and thanks for clicking on and having a listen to this week's 5 minutes. So we've been doing our series as we continue on the series of financial management and best practice finance in the hospitality industry, and we hope that you've been gaining some insights there as you listen to these. Today we're going to zero in on a particular part of finance, and it's going to be about data and what is the most important data that you need and how do you go about making that really useful in your business. To do that, we're going to have 3 questions, and I'll give you some insights into each one of those questions. The questions are, how do we go about gathering data? Number 2, how do we go about sharing that data? And 3, how do we go about celebrating when that data is right? So going to the first one about gathering data. Well, first of all, we'd say you want to be making sure that you're using really good software and using modern technology to make sure that the data that you're gathering is both accurate and at your fingertips so that you can make it really useful. We want to be looking at data often in real time, but certainly unlike a P&L, which we get 10 days, 12 days after the end of the month, which is good data, but it's very late to move on. We're really particularly focusing on data that we can move on and act on quickly. And so using software, things like Loader Reports that will give you up-to-date information is what you want to be using, because we want to be taking that real-time action. So the question is, what data are you going to gather? Well, it's really important that you get clear that there are 20% of that data catchment that is the most important. What you've got to figure out for your own hospitality business is what's the 20% that's most important. Because the 80% that is only going to move the dial 20%, you don't want to be spending as much time on that. It's too much to communicate, and it's just be overwhelming for you and your team. So obviously think about the obvious ones: wage cost, cost of goods, spend per head, number of covers, all of these ones that make normal and relevant hospitality sense. So getting really clear about that list of the most important pieces together would be step number 1. Step number 2, that is closely aligned to step number 1, is who are you sharing this with and how do you go about sharing that data? So it's a who and how, and that may shape what it is that the data that you're going to focus on are capturing. But every employee in your business should be exposed to some data that relates directly to their performance within the business. Feedback of simply saying to a chef, "Good job this week," yes, it's a nice piece of feedback, but that's not data-led. There's no numbers, there's no finish line, there's no scoreboard to look at if that's the only feedback that you're giving. Our experience is that when our clients have shared relevant data to their employees, those employees have got really excited about being able to receive a level of feedback and information where they can engage in and feels really relevant to them in their position within the business. So what you share and how you share it, making sure it's relevant to the relevant employee, keeping it updated, make sure it's accurate and relevant, is a really, really important way of both improving engagement with your employee and giving them the opportunity to think about how they can improve that data and those metrics that you've been talking to them about. And then finally, and it might not seem so obvious, is actually to celebrate when that data comes out. If the results, which is part of this, are excellent, are you good at celebrating? Our experience has been is that although I know this is a stressful industry and there's a lots going on, that many business owners, managers, and employees miss the opportunity to celebrate when that data is showing that the business is on track and that you've had a good week, of really making sure that all of the team are acknowledged when those results come out. So gathering data and sharing data is important, but we think celebrating data and celebrating results is just as important. So I hope that proves helpful for you as you think about the data in your business, and I look forward to seeing you at another 5 minutes with James next week. Take care.